Hello, my name is Rachel Whitaker. In December 2014, I received amazing news. I had been chosen as a participant on the 2015 Alternative Spring Break New Orleans. Although I didn't know anyone going on the trip or what experiences were to come, I was elated. What I was really excited for, besides traveling to a new city, was the opportunity to serve individuals outside of my immediate community. Little did I know, this trip I spontaneously applied for would change who I was as a person. I boarded the bus at FGCU, looking at the faces of 30 strangers, and left New Orleans with friends I had laughed and cried with. I don't know if you've heard the details about the New Orleans trip, but the weather was less than ideal. One day we were sweating, and the next we were holding each other tight to share warmth. We partnered with Habitat for Humanity, and when I say we partnered with Habitat, I don't mean we were painting walls or nailing boards together. Oh no, they knew we were a special group who was willing to work hard. We were tying rebar, making sure the foundation was sound, and pouring concrete. That's right, this girl right here poured concrete. Although the weather wasn't perfect, and the labor was tough, everyone always had a smile on their face. Between goofy pictures, literally singing in the rain, and standing in front of our work at the end of the week with the proudest of smiles, I realized I was experiencing something truly special. We all had unique characteristics, but at the core we were all the same, students striving to make a difference. The positive experience didn't stop at the site, it carried through the whole week. While we were at Camp Hope, our lodging site, we would play games, play pranks, and engage in group discussions. Small group discussions are where I experienced the most personal growth. I heard stories of triumph and failure, laughed and cried, and felt comfortable sharing stories about my life to people who were strangers a week prior. I left New Orleans a better person, someone with a greater understanding of service, who was more accepting of others, and who had more love in her heart. I can only hope I'm given the opportunity to inspire others, just as I was over spring break, to develop into the best versions of themselves. Last summer, I embarked on an adventure to Camp Augie Creek, where I served as a camp counselor. My primary responsibilities included taking care of the daily needs of campers who were diagnosed with epilepsy, spina bifida, or were transplant recipients. As the end of the camp was nearing, one of my campers, Haley, came up to me with a gift, a wooden heart she had made that read, "Best Camp Counselor Ever." About a month later, I received an email from her grandma telling me how much Haley had loved the camp and how she can't wait to come back next summer. These are the moments I realized that I had fulfilled my role. Not because Haley liked me, but because I built significance into her life and gave her something to look forward to. As an honors mentor at FGCU, my role is to offer guidance and support in academic, professional, and service-oriented development. Although my role as a mentor on campus is more formal than that of a camp counselor, my mentality remains the same. I focus on the needs of others. I lead by example, and above all, my concern is genuine. One of my greatest strengths as a leader is that I'm inclusive. I have no problem leaving my comfort zone if I see someone in a social setting sitting alone, and you can bet I'll be the first one to go over and introduce myself. Ultimately, I live a life where I put human relationships on center stage. I also possess the capacity to cope with failure and learn from past mistakes. I understand that everything doesn't always go as planned, but we need to be able to adapt to new situations and circumstances despite failures or obstacles. One thing I struggle with as a leader is defining my role. When I meet someone, I immediately want to be friends and laugh and have a good time. Sometimes I have a hard time being serious. I want the people around me to be smiling and happy, so it's innate of me to make jokes or act silly. I don't think it's any way unprofessional, but my desire to have people like me and want to be around me can be too casual when I'm in a leadership position. Alternative break site leaders are responsible for behind the scenes work as well as interactions with participants on the trip. Site leaders, to me at least, are middlemen. They work with FGCU student government officials and serve as a liaison between the community and participants. Site leaders are mentor leaders. They form relationships with the participants while making sure the student is getting the most out of his or her experience. The participant's role is to gain a greater sense of community involvement through service and engage in group discussions for personal growth, while having the time of their lives with their peers. For scenario one, I believe the issue should be addressed and resolved before the trip even starts. It would be selfish to cause a negative atmosphere or make situations awkward for other leaders or participants during the break. I'm very forward when it comes to addressing problems I have, just so that they don't escalate. We were both chosen as site leaders for a reason, and we need to acknowledge that fact. We would have to compromise on reflection activities, taking ideas from both, and forming something that's even better than both of our individual ideas. For scenario two, I would probably pull a tactic that was used on my alternative spring break. We weren't cliquey, but they still had us drive on the bus next to someone we didn't know. This sounds childish and so simple, but it was an excellent idea. I think I got the closest to those random people I sat by than anyone else on the trip. Also, you can always pull out icebreakers, which although awkward, sometimes they're always fun and they're an easy way to get to know people. If there was tension in the group, I would suggest that everyone sit together and hone our focus back into why we're on the trip. Everyone there is for one common purpose, and that's to serve the Atlanta community.